What's up everyone, James here, and in today's video, we are going to cover Cybertron's Golden Age. This will explain some of the history of Crystal City, Omega Supreme, Dai Atlas, and the origin of Nova Prime. It'll also explain so much of what we've seen so far in our coverage of IDW's Transformers universe, specifically in the Autocracy trilogy, and what we will see in the rest of the Drift miniseries. For those of you who want a part 2 of that series, don't worry, it's coming. I wanted to bring this to you first. If by chance you are new here and haven't seen either series, links will be in the pinned comment below. Now, this story of the past we're about to embark on was revealed in Transformers Robots in Disguise annual titled Primus. The bulk of this annual takes place after the Great War, but we're not going to focus on that. That's for the future James to take care of when we reach it. So, after the God War, after the Knights of Cybertron left the planet, and after the War of the 13 Primes, Cybertron's fate of endless war continued until one bot rose to unite the planet and end the fighting. He gave Cybertronians a new beginning. They called him Prime, Nova Prime. He looks amazing. He reminds me of Gundam RX-78. After uniting Cybertron, Nova searched for what legend said was the home of Primus, Crystal City. Nova, with his group of warriors and advisors, went into the depths of Cybertron. He reveals to them that the Ancient One, who is Alpha Trion, told him of this place. Once they reach the bowels of Cybertron, they discover Crystal City and its legendary guardian, Omega Supreme. Nova and his warriors introduce themselves to Supreme, and we meet some familiar faces. First is Cyclonus. Now, in the IDW universe, Cyclonus isn't a creation of Unicron. He is a religious bot who seeks to learn more about the legends of Cybertron. Second is Nova's strategist and science officer, Geoxys. Now, for those of you who've been around the channel for a while, you know I love Marvel's Transformers Geoxys. Now, in the IDW universe, he is the creator of the Vampark ribbon we saw back in Transformers Autocracy. Third is Galvatron. In the IDW universe, Galvatron isn't Megatron reborn, nor is he created by Unicron. He is an ancient warrior who predates even the 13 Primes, but we aren't going to get into his history here. Lastly is Dai Atlas, who we are already familiar with. Nova explains to Omega Supreme that he ended the never-ending war Cybertron has endured, that he has come to relieve him of his duty. He says, as heir to the throne of Primus, I bid you freedom, the right of all sentient beings. In the following weeks, Nova, with the help of Geoxys' technology, brought Crystal City from the depths of Cybertron to its surface. Also in those weeks, Nova developed a close friendship with Omega Supreme. He says to Supreme that many sentient beings in the universe are waiting for their gift of freedom. Now, for the first time in memory, peace finally reigned on Cybertron. Under Nova Prime's rule, Cybertron had entered its Golden Age. But sadly, this age wouldn't last for long. One day, in a frantic state, Dai Atlas informed Supreme of Nova's and Geoxys' creation. Nova tells Supreme that Geoxys has re-engineered 6 Cybertronian volunteers and has made them one. These 6 then combine together to form a massive bot. This is the first combiner ever created. Nova explains that he has studied the ancient texts of the legend of Primus, and this is him fulfilling his prophecy that all shall be one. That with this new power and the arc they've built together, they shall grant freedom to the universe. In reality, Nova seeks to take the freedom of will, of individuality, from all in the universe. He essentially wants all to become one under his rule. Supreme tells Nova that this is a perversion of what Primus meant. Nova orders Dai Atlas to be taken away, and Dai Atlas warns Supreme that this is the end of freedom. At that moment, this combiner loses control and yells its name, Monstructor. Omega Supreme says, I know what it is. It is the end of an age. He strikes Monstructor, and the two begin to battle. Nova orders Geoxys to gain control of Monstructor, but Geoxys informs him that it wasn't meant to be controlled. As the battle between Supreme and Monstructor rages on, destroying Crystal City, Diet Atlas tells Nova that Crystal City will fall, and Nova makes it clear he doesn't care. He doesn't need Crystal City or Omega Supreme anymore. Even when Diet Atlas reminds him that it's the legacy of Primus, Nova says, "I am the legacy of Primus. You've lost your place on our arc, Atlas." Now Nova reveals to Diet Atlas that Geoxys discovered a power source of limitless energy, and with it, they will travel to the farthest reaches of the cosmos. Now, what this power source is, we don't learn in this issue. In time, Omega Supreme eventually defeated Monstructor, but a good amount of Crystal City was laid to waste. After Diet Atlas tells Supreme of Nova's plans, Supreme leads him to a secret passage beneath Crystal City, and reveals he never fully trusted Nova Prime. He shows Diet Atlas that beneath Crystal City dwells Metro Titan. This was the real reason why Omega Supreme was guarding Crystal City. He tells Diet Atlas that Titans once were a fleet for the Guiding Hand, and that one day they will do the same for their successors. Now Diet Atlas does ask if they will awaken Metro Titan. Omega answers no, only a great Cybertronian can awaken a Titan. When Diet Atlas says, "You mean a Prime?" Omega replies, "The label is meaningless. Nova mocked the name Primus, and he shall not be the last of the false primes, and the cruel sciences of Geoxys will continue. Things will get worse, Diet Atlas, before they get better." Omega Supreme's response is amazing. His knowledge of the future is like almost spot on. We've seen some false primes already. Sentinel Prime in Megatron's origin, and Zeta Prime in Transformers Autocracy. The cruel sciences of Geoxys, referring to technology created by him, like the Vampire ribbon that Zeta Prime used to kill many Cybertronians. And we may even see more creations in the future that will bring death and destruction. He even tells Diet Atlas that there will come a time when he must leave Cybertron to keep the light of the Guiding Hand burning in its endless circle, aka the Circle of Light. This blew my mind when I read it. So if you saw my Transformers Monstrosity video, I was very critical of Diet Atlas because he just came across as a self-righteous dick. However, after reading this issue, it explains his actions so much and helped me come to understand his feelings on why he felt like he had to leave Cybertron. So Diet Atlas created the Circle of Light to ensure the teachings of Primus, Cybertronians who wanted no part in any war, and Cybertron's history would all survive. This is why he left the planet in Transformers Monstrosity. So if it fell, Cybertron still lived on in some way in the universe. This is why in the Drift miniseries we discover New Crystal City, and we'll learn just how much of a utopia it is. Soon after Nova Prime left, the Cybertronians that stayed witnessed Crystal City vanish once again deep below Cybertron. When Omega says, "It begins," Diet Atlas tells Supreme that it sounds like he can see the future. Omega tells him he only knows the path, not the destination. Diet Atlas notes that he doesn't seem to be hopeful about the future. This explains why Omega Supreme waited for Nova Prime to return in Transformers Primacy, and why he didn't initially reveal this reason to Optimus Prime. He wanted to see that he wasn't another false prime, and was nothing like Nova. Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure to hit that like button, comment down below your thoughts, and subscribe. Other than that, have an awesome day, and always remember every day to transform and go beyond. See you later, Beyonders.